Alrighty, welcome to the channel. My name is JGOD. In today's video, we're going to focus on the best console settings when it comes to the Division 2. So that's either the Xbox One or the PlayStation 4. So for the gameplay setting tab, you're going to want to make sure everything is pretty much set to default except for auto hide HUD. And the only reason I think that feature is set to on by default is for the overall immersion, since they put a lot of detail into the actual environment. Next up is adjusting the UI, and you can really adjust this however you want, but ideally you're going to want to make sure you move the mini map a little bit closer to the center of the screen, obviously not blocking your vision in any way, but you want to make your eyes work as little as possible. So even making a slight adjustment, moving it away from the edge of the screen will help you do this. Focus on the middle of the screen, back to that corner, to the middle of the screen, back to the corner. And if you want to do the exact same thing with your teammates' health bars, you can do that. Just move it a little bit further away from the edge so you don't have to look as far to see what's going on over there. I know it's a small distance, but all these little tweaks means less work for your eyes. You could also move that to the top of the screen so it's a little bit out of the way, but still within direct line of sight. As far as the audio settings go, it really depends on what your setup is like. Some people are using headsets, some people are using earbuds, some people are just using their TV speakers. So the audio is going to rely heavily on whatever your output is. So personally, I went ahead and changed my camera sensitivity and aim sensitivity. Hopefully they'll come out with a scope sensitivity, because when you actually scope in, the sensitivity feels a little weird. And personally, I thought the camera sensitivity was just a little too low when I started the game, and the aim sensitivity was a little too high. So I kind of brought those a little closer to medium. And just as a heads up, I'm not the player that typically plays on an incredibly high sensitivity. So what felt comfortable for me was the camera sensitivity at a 7 and the aim sensitivity at an 8. And I honestly think sensitivity is one of those things you definitely need to get dialed in early on, especially in a shooter. So right here, I highly recommend turning controller vibration off. It is distracting and can ruin your aim. And it's pretty much only there for immersion. And if you want your controller to feel as responsive as possible, you're going to want to make sure you lower the dead zones for both the right stick and the left stick to either a 1 or a 0. Some controllers will act a little weird. They'll have a little bit of drift if you put it to 0. So 1 is probably the best number to put it at. And the last part when it comes to controls is how fast you actually move around the corners. So if you're stuck on a wall with either X or A, the game gives you two different options. You can either move around the edge of a corner slowly or fast, and it makes much more sense to have it fast. I'm not sure why by default it has it slow, so you're definitely going to want to change that from slow to fast. And the next setting we'll go ahead and focus on is brightness, and you're going to want to bump this up to about a 16 because a lot of areas in the game are very dark. Obviously, they're built a certain way for immersion, but if you actually want to be able to see your targets in the dark, you got to bump that brightness up a little bit. So we'll go ahead and skip over the next two categories because those are preferences, and we'll go ahead and focus on accessibility. And my recommendation is to play with these and find what works best for you. But in my opinion, the high contrast UI is very effective to make everything stand out. Right now you can see through the actual text boxes, but these make it a little bit more solid and very easy to read. I personally don't struggle to read the text, but if you want to go ahead and make the text large, that's something you can go ahead and do. And that's pretty much it for this video. If you did enjoy the video anyway, please remember to hit that like button. If you're brand new to the channel, which you probably are, make sure you do subscribe so you can find your way back to the channel. See y'all in the next one. Thank you for watching. As always, have a great day.